I rear-ended a luxury car. When I woke up, a cold, elegant CEO was sitting in front of me. Thinking about the astronomical repair costs, I immediately pretended to have amnesia and acted pitiful. Testing the waters, I asked softly, "Brother?" He looked at me and chuckled. "Wifey." I blinked. "There's a deal this good?" The act was fake, but I ended up taking on the role for real. I had rear-ended a Bugatti Veyron. Between the violent impact and the shock to my soul, I fainted on the spot. When I came to, the man before me was so devastatingly handsome that my knees almost buckled. But what truly made my legs go weak was the repair fee. Compensation? Even if I were sold by the pound and added my next lifetime on top, I still couldn't afford it. My survival instinct kicked in. Trembling, I tested the waters. "Be brother?" The man's brows moved slightly. His cool fingertips gently brushed aside the strands of hair stuck to my forehead. He spoke slowly. "Wife." My brain short-circuited. Wasn't the usual outcome for fake amnesia scams supposed to be the other person getting annoyed, clarifying boundaries, and letting me slip away from the debt? Why was this one calling me his wife? Did my massive debt just turn into a lifetime meal ticket? He didn't even give me time to process it before instructing the people behind him, "Take good care of Mrs. Melissa. Give her the best of everything. Until she's discharged, don't let anyone irrelevant disturb her." "Yes, President Edward," they all replied in unison. Then he turned back to me. "As for your family, let's not tell them for now. No need to make them worry." "Okay, husband," I replied automatically. After he left, I tugged on a bodyguard's sleeve. "Big brother, what's my husband's name again?" "Edward, ma'am. You can look him up." So I did. The Bugatti Veyron wasn't even a fraction of his net worth. Not even a strand of hair from 9 oxen. I nearly passed out again. For the next few days, I stayed in a VIP ward, enjoying emperor-level treatment. The husband who had appeared from the heavens never showed up again, but the bodyguards he left behind guarded the place like an iron fortress. If a mosquito flew in, they'd probably check its ancestry back 18 generations. The good news, I didn't have to pay for the car. The bad news, I might have just trapped myself. At this rate, shouldn't I run? On the day I was discharged, I claimed I needed rest and dismissed everyone. Using the blind spots I'd memorized over the past few days, I quietly slipped out of the inpatient building. But just as I stepped outside, 3 black cars screeched to a stop in front of me. The doors opened, and a group of burly men poured out. The leader bowed deeply. "Madam, sir instructed us to bring you home. Also, we need to complete the wedding photo shoot." My legs gave out. I nearly collapsed on the spot. He opened the car door respectfully, but left no room for negotiation. I glanced at the car, which seemed as long as my entire life, and climbed in with the determination of someone marching toward their fate. I was taken to a private estate and pushed into a dressing room larger than my entire apartment. A team of stylists swarmed me with professional smiles and stuffed me into a wedding gown. "Sir is already waiting on the lawn, madam. This way, please." As I walked, I recalled everything I'd read online. Edward, cold-faced king of hell. Net worth in the hundreds of billions. Most importantly, completely uninterested in women. Body and mind, both untouched. Okay, I wasn't running anymore. This level of fortune? I'd catch it with both hands. Edward stood with his back to me, a suit jacket draped over a chair. He was reaching for a white dress shirt, his entire backline smooth and perfect, broad shoulders, narrow waist, toned muscles. My eyes nearly fell out. He must have heard my footsteps because he turned around, shirt in hand. The front view was even worse. Those pecs. Those abs. That V-line. My nose heated, I sniffed quickly. This body. This face. This husband was mine. Dragging my heavy skirt, I rushed over. His hands paused mid-buttoning as he lowered his eyes to me. Before he could react, I leaned in and kissed his cheek. Edward froze. His face turned scarlet. I launched my next attack. "Husband, you look so cute when you're shy." The photographer holding the camera practically shouted with excitement, "Perfect. Hold that expression. So natural. So sweet." Edward reached out and adjusted my perfectly tidy veil. People really did fidget when they were embarrassed. His fingertips brushed the edge of my ear, sending a tiny jolt of electricity through me. I tilted my head onto his arm. "Husband, this dress is so heavy, can you hold me?" Just as we posed, his arm around my waist, me gazing up like a love-struck fool, an assistant rushed over with my phone. "Madam, a call for you." I glanced at the screen. Director Lee, the assistant director of a major production I'd fought tooth and nail to audition for. "Hello, Director Lee." I answered instantly. His voice crackled with excitement. "Melissa, right? Congratulations. The second female lead is yours. You'll join the crew early next month. Contract details coming tomorrow." A what? Stunned from joy? Get ready. This opportunity is rare. He hung up. Second female lead? I'd only hoped to snag a background role. Now a golden pie had fallen right on my head. I was on a roll, rear-ending a car got me a billionaire husband, and now my acting career had taken off. Edward asked, what happened? Instantly switching back into my amnesia persona, I replied, husband, a director called. He said I'm going to act as the second female lead? Am I an actress? Yes, Edward replied calmly. You're an actress. Not very famous yet. You recently auditioned for director Wong's new drama. Looks like you made it. A second female lead is a significant role. It's a good thing. How did he know so much? For a second, I began doubting whether I really had amnesia. Otherwise, why would a man as busy as him know everything about a minor, 18-tier actress like me? Wow, husband, how do you know everything? I had no choice but to keep pretending. Edward kept a straight face. You also played the tray-carrying maid in Flames of Beauty, the drowning extra in Urban Romance, and... Okay. I slapped a hand over his mouth. Those were such embarrassing entries on my resume. He took my hand and said gently, it doesn't matter. You'll play the roles you truly want in the future. The photographer nearby was so touched he nearly cried. Yes. President Edward, Madam, this is perfect. Hold hands. Look into each other's eyes. One more close-up. That night, I was taken back to Edward's penthouse, the kind of place you could host a horse race in. Wearing a nightdress, I slid over to him as he reviewed documents. Time to test the marriage, gold content. Husband, I said, sitting beside him, do we have a marriage certificate? I really can't remember anything. Edward answered, you're young and just debuted. We haven't gotten the certificate yet. No certificate? So in the hospital, he'd called me wife so naturally, without a certificate? But, he added, we've lived together for a long time. There's no difference from being married. I almost believed him. Looking at his incredibly handsome face, thinking about this luxurious lifestyle, this vast fortune and this gorgeous man, I decided I would enjoy it first and ask questions later. It's getting late. Rest, he said, standing up. My eyes lit up. I followed him into the bedroom like an eager little tail. Husband, I patted the soft bed invitingly, shouldn't we sleep? He lifted the quilt and lay down, on his own side. Then he closed his eyes, breathing evenly, as if ready to sleep. I, wearing a sexy nightdress and striking a beautiful pose, froze. That was it. That was all. After a few seconds of awkward silence, I heard the soft, steady sound of his breathing. He was actually asleep. I stared at his back in disbelief, my mind racing with 100 thoughts. No wonder he had to trick a wife into coming home. What a waste. What a crime against humanity. Wasting that face, that body, my happy married life had ended before it even began. That night, I dreamed I was hugging a huge, human-shaped heater, hot, solid, and inexplicably comfortable. I rubbed against it again and again until the heat finally woke me up. My legs were draped over Edward's waist. My arms were tightly wrapped around his neck. My entire face was buried in his chest. What entered my sight was a firm, sculpted torso. And beneath me, Edward was staring at the ceiling, his face flushed red, body stiff and unmoving. Instinctively, I tried to spring away. But the moment I moved, something poked the inside of my thigh. Oh. So it wasn't that he couldn't. It was that he very much could. Get off, Edward said, his voice hoarse. Instead of pulling away, I deliberately pressed down even harder. Good morning, husband. You're so warm, you feel amazing to hold. Edward peeled me off him and practically bolted out of bed, rushing into the bathroom. The door slammed shut behind him, followed by the violent roar of running water. I lay there listening to the shower thundering like a waterfall, my stomach hurting from trying not to laugh. A man this pure? If I didn't tease him, I'd be wasting a divine gift. I wandered over to the bathroom door. Honey, need help? Why was your face so red just now? Want me to come in and cool you down? A coughing sound came from inside, like he'd choked on water, and the shower roared even louder. A few minutes later, the water stopped. Edward stepped out, his body radiating heat, hair dripping wet. Water trailed down his neck and disappeared into the collar of his bathrobe. His face was still flushed. He didn't even look at me, just strode forward. I immediately spread my arms, blocking the hallway. Husband, why are you running? I'm going to change. No, I whined, hugging his waist from behind. I was in the hospital for half a month. I missed you so much. Didn't you miss me? Your memory is back. I may have amnesia, but I'm not blind. With a husband this handsome, half a month without seeing you? Of course I missed you like crazy. I took the opportunity to run my hand over his abs. And your body is amazing, too. He suddenly asked, "You think I'm handsome?" "Obviously. Number one in the universe. The handsomest man alive. Husband, I don't know how things were before, but the moment I opened my eyes and saw you, I liked you." "Really? Really?" I nodded so hard my hair bounced. The next second, he yanked me into the still steamy bathroom. My back hit the cool tiles. One of his hands pinned my wrist above my head, the other braced against the wall beside my ear. "Melissa," he said, breath unsteady, "don't lie to me." "I'm not lying, mm." I didn't wake until the sun was already high in the sky. Every tiny movement reminded me of my earlier idiocy. Why did I flirt? Why did I tease? Now look. I'd set myself on fire, and he'd put it out completely, right there in the bathroom. Just thinking about it made my knees weak. I made my way downstairs, only to freeze at the sight before me. The butler stood at the front, with several aunties lined up behind him, all smiling kindly and congratulating me. "Madam is awake. Madam must be tired, please drink this while it's hot. Sir specially ordered this bird's nest soup for you. Here is a ginseng black chicken broth, excellent for restoring vitality. We also prepared a jiao cakes for you to snack on." Anyone who didn't know better would think I'd just given birth to triplets and was now in postpartum recovery. What on earth was my so-called husband doing? I braced myself and downed 2 bowls of supplements, my nose nearly bleeding from all the nourishment. After changing clothes, I tiptoed toward the exit. The moment I opened the door, 4 bodyguards in black suits bowed in unison. "Madam, heading out? The car is ready." I just want to visit the convenience store," I muttered. Which was how I ended up in the most high-end shopping mall in the entire city. Within half an hour, I was on the trending list. #Melissa Bodyguards. #small actress big attitude. In the video, 4 hulking men followed behind me expressionlessly. The entire scene screamed, pampered heiress on a shopping spree. The comment section exploded, "Who does she think she is? What has she even acted in? Even the richest families don't pull off this kind of show." My vision darkened. I hadn't even joined the crew yet and I was already buried in scandal. But strangely, within 2 minutes, the hashtag and all related posts vanished completely, like they'd never existed. I stared at my phone, swallowing hard. So this was the legendary power of money. That night, Edward came home. When he leaned toward me, I instinctively stepped back. He gently scooped me into his arms. "Wife." I stiffened. "About this morning? I'm sorry." He kissed my forehead. "I lost control and scared you." "You didn't scare me. I just got tired." "Are you sore? Where does it hurt? Tell me, I'll massage it." His hand pressed lightly against my lower back. I'm sleepy. I want to rest." His hand paused. He looked up, eyes dark and unreadable. I forced myself to say, "Let's sleep separately." "Okay," he agreed instantly. "I'll take the guest room. In this house, whatever you say goes." Instinctively, I murmured, "Thanks." "You're welcome, wife. But only for tonight. Tomorrow, I'm returning to the master bedroom." After he closed the door, I flopped onto my bed and rolled over twice. My mind was a mess. No. This wouldn't do. I needed backup. The next morning at breakfast, I let out a troubled sigh. "Husband? I want to go talk to my best friend today. Don't let the bodyguards follow me, okay? I've lost my memory. I don't remember anything, maybe seeing my old friend will help me recall something." "All right. Go ahead." Edward didn't even glance up from his financial newspaper. "I'll have the driver take you. Be careful." He agreed so easily. It was surprising, but I didn't question it. I ran as fast as I could. Artie, my best friend and fellow bottom-tier actress, looked furious when she saw me. "Melissa, when did you get married?" "How do you know?" I asked. "I visited you at the hospital. Your husband's people kicked me out, called me a random outsider, and even gave me money to leave. They wouldn't even let me text you." So that's why none of my friends checked in. Edward had paid them all off. I hurriedly told her about the car crash, the Amnesia Act, and my accidental acquisition of a very handsome husband. "Holy crap, Melissa, you're incredible. You scammed your way into a top-tier man." Then she suddenly gasped. "Wait, did you say Edward from the Lou Corporation? The living king of hell? What does he want with you? Isn't it super suspicious that he brought you home while you were amnesiac?" "It is suspicious," I admitted. "But don't you think the suspicion comes with deadly sweetness? He's handsome, rich, built, and weirdly pure. So what now? He's lying to me. I'm lying to him. I'll just play along," I whispered. "But this man is dangerous. I need to figure him out." I grabbed her hands dramatically. "Sis, this is the moment that will test our friendship." An hour later, right after I got home, Artie's messages began flooding my phone. "Babe, President Lou transferred this amount to buy my silence." Screenshot. I asked him why he lied to you. His face turned cold instantly, I almost died on the spot. But he stuck to the secret marriage story and said you two were deeply in love, just not ready to go public. He also warned me, if I said anything wrong in front of you, he'd end my career instantly. But then he said, if I obediently report what you like lately, what you're interested in, and how your mood is, he'll pay me each time. Every question equals one payment. Babe, this is a long-term meal ticket. Quick, what's your favorite color today? I'll report back and we'll split the cash 50-50. I stared at the screen, nearly spitting out my tea. Edward wasn't just lying to me. He was bribing my best friend too. Good. Great. Please, continue corrupting both of us. From that day on, my life became a magical, absurd kind of happiness. I casually complained to Artie that I had no appetite. That night, the dinner table was covered with my favorite spicy seafood dishes. I whined in a voice message about the long lines at the strawberry cake shop. The pastry chef from that store was hired directly to my home. I told Artie that guys who play guitar are so attractive. The next day, an expensive guitar appeared in Edward's study. And Edward himself was sitting there, using the same hands that signed multi-million-dollar contracts to clumsily press chords. This man was dangerously sweet. One day, while scrolling short videos, I came across a battle-worn, muscular guy. Feeling mischievous, I sent the clip to Artie. That very night, Edward slowly knelt at my feet. He wasn't wearing a robe. The collar of his shirt hung loose, revealing his collarbones. His hands were tied behind his back with a dark silk tie. He knelt on the carpet beside the bed, looking up at me. His eyes tinted red at the corners. You, what are you doing? My words tangled, though I couldn't look away. You don't like it? He asked. I do. I love it. I love it so much it's driving me insane. But on the outside, I forced a calm expression. How did you know I like this? Because I'm your husband. He paused. And since you like it, should my wife reward her husband? My sanity had evaporated the moment he knelt. Who could resist beauty served this directly? I had barely nodded when he lifted me into his arms. Wait. I also want you to blindfold me, I pushed my luck. His breath trembled against my lips. Next time. Tonight, I'm collecting my reward. After that, I no longer knew heaven from earth. When I finally crawled out of bed, my legs felt like noodles. I stepped onto the floor, and immediately bowed deeply to Edward, who had just stepped out of the bathroom. I grimaced in pain. Edward swept me into his arms without hesitation. Where did you fall? Does it hurt? All your fault, I muttered. Without another word, he carried me into the tub, ran warm water, and grabbed a towel. Clearly ready to wash me himself. No. I can do it. Don't move. He pressed me down gently. Do you even have the strength? You have a script reading later. Fair. I did want to rest a bit. So I let him wash me, towel me off, and help me change. He even hired a professional team to do my makeup and styling. An hour later, I stared at my glowing reflection. Edward's money power, truly magnificent. He wanted to take me there himself. I refused immediately. I didn't want people saying some 18th-tier actress was being kept by a rich man. Edward looked disappointed, so I compromised. Fine. Just send a more low-key car. Which was how I ended up in a plain-looking black sedan, with a B logo. Definitely not a BMW. When I arrived at the hotel meeting room for the script read, everyone was already there. The director, screenwriter, male and female leads, and the important supporting actors. As I quietly settled into a corner, the door opened again. A young man with pink hair swaggered in, chewing gum. Michael, the wildly popular actor playing the second male lead. Whose Mulsanne is parked out front? Low-key yet flashy. Which teacher's is it? He asked aloud. I discreetly googled Mulsanne. It was the low-key car Edward had sent. Price, $5 million. The female lead, Suching, tucked her hair behind her ear and smiled. Probably one of my fans. They love doing silly things like that. The male lead, film emperor Chinku, added calmly, it's probably my friend's car. He dropped me off today. Why? I rolled my eyes inwardly. Sure. Keep pretending. It's just a car, not a royal parade. Just then, the chair beside me scraped back. Michael dropped into the seat next to me. During break, he leaned in and nudged me with his elbow. Hi, sister-in-law. I blinked at him. My brother just texted me. Told me to take good care of you on set. Michael winked. Sis-in-law, don't worry. I'll pour tea, carry bags, and beat up anyone you don't like. If someone gives you attitude, I'll be the first to shut them down. I froze. This pink-haired punk was Edward's younger cousin? When the script read ended, the low-key 5 million yuan car was waiting at the hotel entrance, front and center. I forced myself to climb in. Reflected in the rearview mirror, only Michael's pink head was visible. Winking at me and mouthing, "Sister-in-law, take care." When I got home, Edward was sitting on the living room sofa, clearly distracted. The moment I stepped inside, his eyes snapped toward me. "You're back. Did the table read go well?" "Edward." I folded my arms. "Explain why you had someone follow me." Edward sat up immediately. "No one followed you." "Absolutely not. Michael is my cousin. I just knew the crew environment might be complex, and since I couldn't be with you, having family around helps me worry less." He hesitated. "He didn't trouble you, right? So he wasn't planted there to monitor me?" "Of course not." Edward looked almost hurt. "How could I do that? You deceived me into thinking I was your wife. What wouldn't you do?" I pressed further. "And tell me, did you pull strings so I could get the second female lead role?" Edward's expression turned serious. "That role you earned yourself. It had nothing to do with me. If I interfered, may I step outside and get hit by a—" I slapped a hand over his mouth. Okay. I believe you. I'm tired." "Then rest. I'll sleep in the guest room." Looking disappointed, he stood and turned away. "Good night, wife." The days of filming flew by. Michael and I were shooting a tragic farewell scene. The second male lead embracing the heroine one last time. I threw myself into his arms, tears brimming in my eyes. Michael hugged me tightly, completely immersed in the role. "Great," the director called. "Hold the emotion. Camera, push in." Before he could finish, Michael suddenly swore and jerked away like he'd been electrocuted. I turned, and saw Edward standing on the edge of the set. Michael slid across the floor and knelt at Edward's feet. "Brother, cousin, dearest brother, it's just acting. Script demands. Please understand." Voices rippled across the set. "What's going on? Is that President Liu? Did Michael just call him brother? President Liu came to visit Michael? I didn't know they were that close." While everyone was distracted by the two cousins, I tried to sneak away. But just as I reached the corner, a strong hand grabbed my wrist and pulled, and I was dragged into a dim, cluttered storage room. Edward pinned me against the wall, his fingers gripping my chin as he kissed me, quick, fierce, breath-stealing. "Why are you here?" My breath was shaky, lips tingling. "Visiting the set," he murmured, his voice hoarse. His thumb brushed over my slightly swollen lips. I gently pushed him away. "Someone might see. Don't interfere with my career." But he couldn't help himself, he leaned in again and pecked my lips once more. "When I saw him holding you." "That was acting," I said quickly. "Did you see how terrified your cousin was?" "I understand actors' jobs," he said firmly. Even if you have kissing scenes later, I'll still support the artistic vision." "Oh? How generous." I deliberately teased. "Really?" "Yes." "Great. Then maybe I should ask the director to add a farewell kiss between the second female lead and the second male lead. I wasn't emotional enough earlier, maybe a kiss would help." I turned to walk out. My wrist was immediately pulled back. "Don't go." Edward yanked me firmly into his arms, holding me like I might disappear at any moment. In the days that followed, the crew was blessed with luxurious afternoon tea, every single day. One day it was viral, hard to get milk tea. The next day, pour-over coffee brewed from premium beans. The day after that, a dessert table featuring delicacies priced in the 4-digit range, per person. Different treats arrived each day. Each one placed precisely into the hands of every crew member. Whenever someone asked, the delivery staff just smiled mysteriously. Film Emperor Chinka commented, "Probably one of my fans. Very generous." Female lead Su Qing sighed gracefully, "Fans can be so passionate and discreet." That unmistakable aroma of wealth, it had to be Edward. Sure enough, Michael snuck up to me one afternoon. "Sister-in-law, tastes good, right?" he whispered proudly. My brother basically bought out the whole store so they could deliver fresh snacks to the set every day. And he told them not to mention his name, said he didn't want to cause trouble for you. TSK. I'm jealous. I looked down at the milk tea in my hand, priced high enough to cover a day's meals, and felt my heart ache. I slipped into the restroom and bombarded Edward with texts. "Edward, stop wasting money." He replied immediately, "Does it taste good? That shop sweetness level should be exactly how you like it. How much did this cost? Stop sending things. Money doesn't grow on trees." A moment later, 3 more messages arrived. "Oh. I'll listen to my wife. Always." I thought that would be the end of it. But no. Edward simply changed tactics. For the next several days, Michael quietly handed me Edward's double rations, sneaking them over like a back-alley food deal. The whole crew was puzzled. Huh? Why is Teacher Zhou getting chubbier? I saw him take 2 servings every time. Who's the other one for? Is he secretly dating someone? Feeding a hidden girlfriend? Michael tried desperately to maintain his figure, while silently crying inside. When filming wrapped, the celebration was extravagant. A staff member huffed and puffed as he carried in an enormous bouquet, Ecuadorian roses mixed with imported tulips, and placed it in my arms. I froze. The chatter around me stopped for a second, then. Who sent this? So extravagant. For Melissa? Is she really that hot right now? This bouquet must have cost a fortune. Haha, must be a delivery mistake. Whose is this really? I laughed awkwardly. The director passed by, glanced at the card, and said, no mistake. The investor sent flowers for everyone. But this biggest bouquet, specifically for Melissa. As thanks for your excellent performance. Take it. The investor. Edward. It was you again. Michael stepped into cover for his cousin without missing a beat. The investor has good taste. Totally deserved. After the wrap party, a familiar black sedan pulled up quietly in front of me. I glanced around guiltily before slipping inside. A pitiful voice called from behind, bro, give me a ride? My agent forgot me. The car dropped Michael off first. He clung to the window, waving dramatically. Bye, sister-in-law. Thanks, bro. The next morning, still basking in the bliss of sleeping in post-wrap, I was jolted awake by Artie's frantic call. Baby. You're trending. A terrible premonition crept up my spine. I opened the hot search. Dead. Hashtag Michael Melissa hashtag, exploded. Attached video caption, after the wrap party last night, Melissa and Michael left the hotel separately but entered the same black luxury car moments apart. The car later drove into Michael's residential area. Michael exited first, only then did the car leave. No intimate behavior was spotted, but sharing a car has sparked speculation. The comment section was chaos. When did they get together? Wait, is that a Bugatti Veyron? Michael's that rich? Even for a rich heir, that's excessive. So Melissa is the one clinging to Michael? Or is Michael clinging to Melissa? Melissa is the rich one? No wonder she never fights for resources. Acting is just a hobby. I buried my face in the pillow and let out a miserable groan. Edward walked in holding a glass of milk. Seeing my despair, he took out his phone like he was about to make a call. Don't you dare take down the trending topic. I shouted. If it disappears, Michael's fans will think I'm hiding something. They'll curse me to death. And if anyone connects you to me, I'm finished. This is my first big role. I don't want to get kicked out of the industry. Sorry you have to suffer, Edward murmured, pulling me into his arms. I leaned against him, staring at comments calling me a gold digger, a schemer, and sighed. What suffering? My real husband is right here holding me. Then I added under my breath, I only feel bad for Michael. Poor guy suddenly got a scandal girlfriend. Edward snorted. He deserves it. Who told him to hitch a ride? Bro, save me. Michael burst into the house and immediately hugged Edward's leg. Bro, I was wrong. I shouldn't have used your car. I shouldn't have waved at sister-in-law through the window. Bro, you have to believe me, I respect her purely. Edward asked calmly, you don't have a girlfriend, right? Michael shook his head so fast it blurred. No. Definitely not. Single as ever. Well, I am interested in someone, but nothing's happening. He shook his head even harder. Nope. Career comes first. No dating. Edward nodded. Then there's no rush to clarify things. Michael's eyes widened in horror. Edward added flatly, having a scandal with you is still better than being linked to some random shady person. At least you're safe. Michael turned to stare at me, utterly devastated. Edward looked thoughtful. Wife, why don't we just make our relationship public? No. I shot up from the sofa instantly. Going public meant the end of my career. I'd be labeled a kept woman, a trophy girlfriend, or worse. Yes. Yes. Go public. Great idea, then I'll be safe. Michael nodded wildly, his eyes full of hope. She said no. So it's no. Edward shut him down without hesitation. Michael suddenly slapped his forehead. Oh, right. A dating variety show invited me recently. They asked me to recommend a female guest, preferably someone trending. Sister-in-law, how about joining me? We can just show off our ironclad friendship. Sabotage each other on screen. Let the audience see how impossible we are as a couple. Wouldn't that kill the rumors? I glanced at Edward. It sounded ridiculous, but also, annoyingly, it made perfect sense. Edward looked extremely displeased, but seeing that I agreed, he didn't object. When the dating show Heartbeat continued officially announced the cast, the hashtag Josue shot to #1 on the trending list. Damn. It's confirmed. They left together after the wrap party, and now they're doing a dating show? Isn't this basically a soft launch? Michael's studio, please clarify, are they dating or not? Blessings 99. Their visuals match so well. Melissa? Why her? Jealous fans stay mad, Melissa's adorable and totally worthy. This was the exact opposite of clearing my name. The pre-recording warm-up livestream became our last hope. The livestream exploded with viewers. CP fans flocking to watch, haters already blocked for their insults. The host smiled brightly. Melissa and Michael have worked together before. Any expectations for appearing on the show together? I smiled politely. I'm looking forward to learning from teacher Michael. His acting is incredible, especially crying scenes. He cries on command, like a faucet. Even the snot goes in his mouth. Michael countered, Teacher Lynn is the real pro. She can eat 2 lunchboxes in one sitting, cleans every chicken bone, and always steals my snacks. I glared. Yes, but unlike Teacher Zhou, I don't spend every day practicing wink poses in the mirror to charm teenage fans. Michael gasped. At least I'm better than someone who NG'd over 20 times in kissing scenes. Because she couldn't find the right angle. The director nearly lost it. You think everyone is like you? Romantic with anyone you act with? If the director didn't yell cut, you'd kiss your way into the sequel. That's called professionalism. Michael rolled his eyes. What do you know? I know you drag me into video games at midnight, lose 10 rounds in a row, then cry about it. That's because I'm under pressure. Michael slapped his thigh. You don't understand the burdens of a top star. The comment section exploded. Ha 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 ha, who are these 2 chaotic goblins? Where is the romance? They're just bickering siblings. Not me laughing so hard I can't breathe. This is like watching my besties argue. 0 CP vibes. 100% comedy. I could watch them for 100 episodes. Michael is definitely gay. Look at how he roasts pretty girls. Melissa is so real and hilarious. I used to hate her, now I love her. No romantic tension. Just pure platonic madness. Michael fans, relax. Your man can't even flirt properly. Trending tags flooded in, hashtag Michael Melissa Brotherhood. Hashtag Michael the funny guy. Hashtag Melissa the comedy queen. I finally exhaled in relief. When I opened the front door and stepped inside, Edward stood at the entrance, arms wide open. I rushed over and hugged him tightly. What's wrong? He asked as I patted his back. The entire internet is shipping our chaotic brotherhood now. No one ships the CP anymore. Why are you still jealous? I'm jealous if anyone ships anything that involves you, he murmured, then softly bit the side of my neck. Then, how about we just stay friends? Since we never got a marriage certificate anyway. Melissa. His voice dropped low. You're saying this just to make me mad. Seeing that he was genuinely upset, I quickly softened my tone. You can sleep in the master bedroom tonight, okay? Okay. But I have to leave early tomorrow for the recording. I can't be late or tired. Fine. Just sleeping. Edward pressed his lips together and nodded obediently. He kept his word. Laying properly on his side of the bed. But I couldn't sleep. He was being too good to me, so impossibly good. So good that this little scammer started feeling guilty. How long could I really keep pretending to have amnesia? Wifey, can't sleep, he whispered, reaching for my hand. A bit. He gently patted my back. Then, not long after, a soft, off-key humming filled my ears. He was rocking me to sleep like a child. Under his steady rhythm and warm, soothing touch, my eyelids grew heavier and heavier. And before I knew it, I actually fell asleep. The next day, I arrived at the filming location for Heartbeat Continued. It was a cozy-looking suburban villa. I was the 3rd female guest to arrive. The first 2 were Suwon, sweet and adorable. Xiaqing, elegant and intellectual. 2 male guests had also arrived. Chenhao, cheerful and sporty. Qinyu, quiet, melancholic, artistic. Michael bounced inside with way too much energy. I shot him a warning glare, and he coughed awkwardly before going to greet Suwon and Xiaqing instead. The last female guest was Tang Xin, cute and bubbly. 3 men, 4 women. The classic variety show setup. Someone was bound to be left out. Sure enough, after the initial greetings, the atmosphere subtly shifted. Suwon and Chenhao bonded over fitness. Xiaqing and Qinyu found a quiet corner to talk about an obscure novel. Michael glanced around before striking up a half-hearted conversation with Tang Xin. I remained completely relaxed. Not uncomfortable in the slightest. Please. I had a husband at home who was peak looks, maxed out in body stats, and even hummed lullabies to help me sleep. No production teams, dating traps, could rattle me. But the livestream comments were blowing up. WTF, the show is so cruel, deliberately leaving Melissa alone. Melissa looks so pitiful standing there by herself. Wait, she doesn't look pitiful at all? She looks kind of amused? She stands alone, yet shines. Queen behavior. This must be scripted. A reverse twist is coming. Can we talk about how good her bare face looks? That skin is insane. Michael. Your BRO is being isolated, why aren't you saving him? The production team must have noticed the live feedback, because a voiceover chimed in, attention, guests. One more male participant was delayed due to unforeseen circumstances. He is currently on his way. Please wait a moment. Another guest? I raised an eyebrow, sipped my water, and didn't think much of it. Whoever it was didn't matter. I came here to clear a scandal, not to fall in love. Just then, the villa doors opened. For 1 second, the live stream chat went completely silent. Then, HOLY? WHO is that? That face, that aura, that's not a regular human. Wait, isn't that guy in a finance magazine? Edward? The Edward from Lou Group? Did the investors show up for inspection? I inhaled at the wrong time and nearly choked on my water. Edward. Why the hell was he here? Michael's expression was priceless. Pure ghost sighting levels of shock. Edward walked straight up, stopped before the group, and said calmly, hello. I'm the new guest, Edward. Sorry I'm late. I hope I didn't keep you waiting. His arrival was a deep-sea bomb. Instantly detonating across the live stream, Weibo, and every Chinese social platform. Hot search exploded, hashtag Edward on dating show. Hashtag who is Edward? Hashtag CO Flugrap descends to mortal world. The production crew panicked. The director cleared his throat. We had a last-minute casting change. Please proceed as normal. Senior actress Xia Qing stepped forward politely. Hello, Mr. Liu. Welcome. I'm Xia Qing. Everyone rushed to introduce themselves. Edward responded briefly. Hello. Chen Hao tried to ease the tension. President Liu is interested in joining our show. Edward replied coolly, Just experiencing life. His expression didn't change. But his eyes flicked toward me. Experiencing life? He looked more like he came to buy the entire production. Suwon braced herself and asked, President Liu, what kind of girls do you usually like? A standard dating show question. Quiet ones, he answered, still smiling. But his gaze landed directly on me. I froze. I glanced at the big screen showing the exploding comment feed. Quiet? Then why is he staring at Melissa? That look. There's history. And drama. I hereby declare this evil CEO X chaotic actress ship canon. Cold CEO X energetic actress, yes. Michael shuffled closer and whispered, oh my god, why is my brother here? Doesn't he have a company to run? Billions and deals to close? Staring straight ahead with a frozen smile, I muttered between my teeth, I don't know. And I'm too scared to ask. But our whispered exchange didn't go unnoticed. The sharp-eyed female viewers caught everything. Comments immediately shifted, why are Michael and Melissa whispering to each other? They claimed they weren't close, look at them gossiping like siblings. Brotherhood is fake. Something's going on. The show introduced a fate draw segment. Supposedly to help everyone warm up. Naturally, Edward and I were paired. Congratulations to both of you. You'll form a temporary date group, the director's voice boomed. Your mission is to prepare tonight's dinner for all 8 guests, grocery shopping to cooking. Others will have separate date missions. Good luck. The other pairs received easy, romantic tasks, painting in a sunlit studio, tandem biking, archery therapy, everyone dispersed. The cameraman followed us as we walked toward the market. But when he was briefly called away to adjust an angle, I leaned in and hissed, Edward. Did you rig the draw? Did you switch the cards? He didn't even deny it. The original male guest was a friend. He let me take his place. As for the director? I funded his graduation film years ago. Of course. The almighty power of money. I'm going to get eaten alive in the comments, I groaned. No. You're wonderful. No one will criticize you. You're the only one who thinks everything about me is wonderful, I mumbled. But my heart softened a little. Edward nodded. That's why I want everyone else to know you're wonderful too. Ugh. That's peak cheesy CEO behavior. I'll adjust. The cameraman returned, lens pointed toward us again. We immediately stepped apart. These two look like they're being forced to film. I bet 50 cents they'll order takeout instead of cooking. President Liu, this potato's asset structure is unclear. Denied. Help me. I can't tell if this is romance or corporate onboarding. No, keep them awkward and weird. This is gold. Pushing a cart, I kept a full arm's distance from Edward. Terrified that any move would be interpreted as gold digger behavior. Edward, on the other hand, acted perfectly natural. He kept picking up items and asking for my opinion. He stood close, fingers occasionally brushing mine. Anything is fine, President Liu. You decide. I backed away again. She looks terrified. LOL. CEO pressure too intense, Melissa looks like she's malfunctioning. Is this a date or a quarterly meeting? Wait. Did he just touch her hand? President Liu would never, right? Right? He picked up a box of strawberries. These look fresh. Want to try them? You decide. Edward looked at me, then gently placed them in the cart. I think they're good. Melissa, don't touch me. Edward, too bad, I'm touching. Tell me I'm not the only one thinking he's teasing her on purpose. When we returned to the villa, my scalp tingled. Dinner for 8 people? Was this a romance show or a survival program? Maybe. I'll stew some beans, I muttered. Edward rolled up his sleeves and began handling a live fish. With ease, precision, and total confidence. Suddenly, Edward raised his wet, fish scale-dusted hands and looked at me. Sorry, Miss Lin, could you tie my apron for me? My hands aren't exactly free right now. Aprons? Classic romantic moment unlocked. Does President Liu give orders this naturally? He sounds like a husband asking his wife for help. I'm dead. I shipped. Trying to keep a straight face, I walked over, pretending to be reluctant. I tied the knot behind him clumsily, and in the process, my fingers accidentally brushed the small of his back several times. I could feel Edward secretly enjoying it. Even with his lips pressed together, the corners of his mouth kept curving up. OMG, I saw that. President Liu smiled. His ears are red. He's definitely enjoying this. This couple is mine now. Goodbye. Seeing the comment barrage exploding on the big screen, I quickly fled to the other side of the kitchen, not daring to look at him. Edward turned silently back to the prep table. But his chopping rhythm suddenly seemed much more intense. Why did she run away like that? She's obviously embarrassed. This push-pull vibe is killing me. Just then, Michael's group returned from their tandem bike date and burst into the villa with dramatic flair. Michael sniffed the air theatrically as he ran toward the kitchen. Whoa, something smells amazing. Sisin. He suddenly swerved mid-syllable. Spicy minced noodle soup. Did someone make that? Haha. Ha ha ha. Luckily, the little detour didn't draw much attention. Soon, the rest of the groups returned one after another. When Edward brought out the final dish, a perfectly steamed fish, gleaming and fragrant, the long dining table instantly looked like a 5-star hotel banquet. Everyone was stunned. Tang Xian covered her mouth. Oh my god, you made all this? That's insane. You could open a restaurant. Chenhao gave him a huge thumbs up. Holy, the CEO can actually cook. And cook like this? Look at that knife work. Look at that plating. Is he too rich for a housekeeper? Rich, handsome, and can cook? This man is unreal. Melissa's future is looking blessed, though they don't seem to be romantic yet. Nothing going on? That apron tying scene melted my screen. Everyone sat down, and naturally, the conversation drifted toward Edward. The only person at the table who wasn't a struggling actor but the investor himself. Suwon asked, President Liu, you're so busy. How did you find time to learn cooking? Just a hobby, Edward replied calmly, peeling a shrimp with practiced ease. Qin Yu asked, do you believe in love at first sight, President Liu? I believe more in making things happen. Edward replied, lifting his gaze, just briefly, in my direction. As the conversation continued, someone brought up the topic of first love. First loves are always so sweet, Tang Xian sighed dreamily. Xia Qing asked, what was your first love like, President Liu? It must have been beautiful. Edward paused, his chopsticks suspended mid-air. Then he said slowly, a love etched into my bones. But it was a secret crush. It's in the past now. Not important. Secret crush? President Liu loved someone in secret? Etched into his bones, hello? Who is she? Whoever she is, she must have saved the galaxy in her past life. At Mystery Girl, please collect your blessings and wealth. He sounded so sad. Did he never get over her? Did he join the show to heal a broken heart? Meanwhile, sitting directly across from him, I felt all my pink romantic bubbles shatter on the spot. Oh my god. Was I a stand-in for the woman he once loved and never got? Did he trick me home and treat me so well because I looked like his unreachable first love? But my chill lasted no more than 3 seconds. Before being crushed by my strong materialist mindset. Stand-in? So what? He's gorgeous. Filthy rich. Cooks like a dream. Being a stand-in for a CEO this perfect? Other people wished they could. If my face resembled his first love, then that was my God-given talent for marrying rich. Enjoy first. His heart? Not important. Edward got up to grab something from the kitchen. When he returned, he silently swapped his bowl with mine. The bowl in front of me was now full of peeled shrimp and boneless fish he had prepared. He didn't care at all, he just took my messy, half-eaten bowl and began eating from it. No one else noticed. But my heart skipped a beat. Feeling a bit guilty for letting him do all the work earlier, I got up to help wash the dishes. Edward stood at the same time. No. I'll do it. We both reached for the same plate. Neither of us moved away. Our eyes met in midair, and sparks flew. Michael glanced between us and raised a timid hand. Maybe should. No. Edward and I snapped in perfect unison. LMFAO Michael the tragic third wheel. Edward and Melissa, perfectly synchronized. Michael, my presence is not required. In the end, the three of us formed a dishwashing assembly line. I rinsed. Michael passed. Edward dried and stacked. Why do they look like a family of three? Michael, am I just a prop in their couple skit? Not gonna lie though, very efficient. Evening arrived. It was time for the talent showcase. Chen did fancy push-ups. Chinyu played the violin. Suwon performed a girl group dance. Michael delivered a comedic monologue. Xia Qing recited poetry. Tang Xian sang soprano. Then it was Edward's turn. He picked up a guitar from the corner. After adjusting the tuning, he began to play. He was a little rusty, his long fingers occasionally hit the wrong chords. But he corrected quickly. His serious yet slightly awkward concentration was strangely charming. Okay, he's not amazing, but why is this so attractive? That focused expression. I'm dead. Tell me he learned this for someone. Definitely related to that secret crush. Finally, it was my turn. I scratched my head. I couldn't sing, dance, or recite poetry. I couldn't exactly showcase constructing a three-room apartment from thin air, could I? Wait. I had an idea. I stood up, rolled my wrists and ankles, then cupped my hands toward the group. Forgive the humble performance. I'll show you a modified version of the military boxing I learned as a kid. Under everyone's confused stares, I inhaled deeply. And launched into a clean opening stance. Lunge punch. Throat strike. Snap kick. Horse stance horizontal strike. And finally, a spinning high kick. Which landed a bit too hard. I accidentally kicked a small wooden side table. The tabletop split clean down the middle. Dead silence. Sorry, I said. Used a little too much force. I'll pay for it. HOLY. Melissa, how many more surprises do you have? Director, give her the lead in your next action drama. You don't get this skill without 10 years of training. Wasn't she just an 18th tier actress? And? Our Melissa is civil and martial. Get used to it. As expected. Mom's childhood training never let me down. Back then, I used these same moves to help rescue a few kidnapped kids. Breaking a side table was nothing. That night, during the anonymous heartbeat vote, I didn't hesitate. I placed my sticker under Edward's name. When the results were announced, I received one anonymous vote as well. It's mutual. I knew it. Kitchen duo equals endgame. Davey swallowed the key, no escape now. Don't celebrate too soon. It's only day one. People usually vote for whoever they were paired with. Tomorrow might change. But anonymous voting was pointless anyway. The whole live stream screen was covered with bullet comments. Everyone saw everything. My heart felt warm and full. I almost wanted to sneak into Edward's room right now, throw myself into his arms, and rub against him like a cat. Forget it. Sleep first. I'd see my handsome husband in the morning anyway. I stared at the slip in my hand. Michael. I froze. Michael stared at Edward in horror, equally stunned. Edward, standing nearby, didn't even look over. And just like that, I instantly understood. While the cameramen were still filming the others, I whispered, it has to be your brother. If I'm paired with him again, it'll feel too scripted. But there's no way he'll let me go on a date alone with another man. You're his brother, the safest option. Understood. I'll complete the mission. Michael suddenly looked enlightened. I'll protect sister-in-law. I absolutely won't cross the line. And I'll make sure my brother doesn't choke on jealousy. Our mission card for the Brotherhood Day trip was, going to the arcade. Edward and Suwon's task? Visiting an art gallery. We should have been entirely separate. But fate had a twisted sense of humor. After leaving the arcade, we passed by a trendy ice cream shop. Michael insisted on getting some. While we stood in line, we just so happened to run into Edward and Suwon exiting the art gallery. 4 people. 8 eyes. Instant silence. I was holding the giant strawberry bear Michael had just won for me. Michael was handing me the very first ice cream cone. Across from us? Suwon held a souvenir. Edward stood completely still, expression unreadable. Michael's hand trembled. The ice cream nearly smeared across my entire face. Ha ha ha, what is this catastrophic collision? Second-hand embarrassment is real. WHY, does this look like both sides got caught cheating? President Lu's eyes, murder level approaching. Edward glanced once between Michael and me, then politely nodded to Suwon. And turned to walk away. Suwon hesitated, then quickly followed. But not without sneaking a curious glance back at us. I'm done. Tonight I'm going to have to coax him so hard. Cameras were everywhere. Edward held a magazine, but didn't turn a page for half an hour. I sat on the couch pretending to scroll through live stream comments instead. President Liu is definitely angry about the ice cream incident. He's jealous. Confirmed. Melissa doesn't even dare look at him. Michael, small, helpless, but still eating snacks. Netizens had terrifyingly sharp eyes. Later, as I turned the hallway corner, a big hand suddenly reached out from the storage room, covered my mouth, and pulled me inside. In the dark, Edward pinned me against the door. Don't be scared, he whispered. No cameras here. The director told me. I punched him lightly. Who's scared? I wasn't jealous. His warm lips brushed my earlobe. I just missed you too much. Wanted to kiss you. Then he kissed me, deeply, hungrily. Don't stay away too long, he murmured. They'll get suspicious. I pushed him. Enough. Just one more, he begged softly. Please, wifey. By the time I snuck out of the storage room, my lips were red and swollen. Clear evidence of misconduct. I rushed into the kitchen like a thief, grabbed a popsicle, tore it open, and started sucking on it desperately to cool down my lips. Moments later, Edward appeared. Looking refreshed and relaxed. President Liu seems to be in a very good mood. He left angry and came back glowing? Melissa eating ice cream. Why is her face so red? Her lips look puffy, must be spicy ice cream. President Liu must have made another billion, he's smiling too much. I sucked my popsicle and stared at the bullet comments scrolling across the screen, thinking quietly, no, he's happy because of me, thank you very much. The director discovered a flaw in anonymous voting. And changed it to public voting with explanations. Tang Xian went first. She picked Chenhao. His joke was really funny today. Chenhao picked Xiaoqing. She knows so much. I learned a lot about art. Respect. Xiaoqing chose Qinyu. He has a calming presence. Qinyu, ever melancholic, picked Suwon. She understands music. Then came Suwon. She picked Edward. President Liu is intriguing. I want to know more. Then Edward stood. Without hesitation, he picked me. I talked the most with Miss Lin. Then it was my turn. Even though I could practically hear Michael mentally screaming don't pick me, I still did. Netizens were too sharp. If I chose Edward again, they'd definitely notice. Teacher Zhou is great at games, I said calmly. Pure admiration for his skills. Beep, brother card played successfully. Finally, Michael. He picked Tang Xian. Xian braided her hair really neatly today. Final result, Tang Xian Chenhao Xiaoqing Qinyu Suwon Edward Melissa Michael Tang Xian. A perfect, single-direction loop. 0 breakpoints. 0 actual romance. 100% the director's nightmare. Hahaha, it's a closed loop. It's a Mobius strip of unrequited love. Every person chasing someone who's chasing someone else. Director, this is the worst cast I've ever assembled. Later that night, as I buried myself in bed, my hand hit something hard. A phone. Unlocked. Who put this in my pocket? The screen lit up with a message from Edward. Wifey, where did you get that phone? Didn't the staff confiscate everything? I replied instantly, sponsor gave extras. Director lent me 2 to handle official business. Oh. I rolled over. Go handle your work then. I'm sleeping. 2 seconds later, you didn't vote for me. Avoiding suspicion. The entire internet's watching. I voted for you. Now tomorrow's trending topic will be, Melissa, social climbing, confirmed. I went silent. Then he added, sounding wronged, wifey, coax me. I love you the most. Moi. I facebombed. The director messaged, you two will have a date tomorrow. Don't be too obvious, President Liu. I want to survive this. Edward replied, why? I want to be obvious. No. I'll get accused of clinging to you. I'm the one who wants to cling. So what? Because they'll call me a vixen stealing your soul. Fine. Wifey decides everything. Tomorrow, I'll keep my distance. When I woke up and saw the next grouping, I was stunned. I'd been paired with Edward. And Michael and Tang Xian. 8 people split into 2 groups. A 4-person date. Director strikes again with the chaos. President Liu Melissa Michael Tang Xian. A perfect love geometry mess. I need a whiteboard to follow this drama. Our task, pottery making. Edward, following his keep distance promise, sat opposite me with a frosty expression. Michael tried to hand me a sculpting tool. Edward glared. Michael's hand trembled and smashed the tool into Tang Xian's freshly molded cup. Tang Xian gasped. Michael. I looked up. Just in time to see the lump of clay in Edward's hands collapse. He stared at it. President Liu, is that abstract art? I couldn't help but laugh. He looked up, completely serious. I shaped you. This ugly thing is supposed to be me. He shaped you? President Liu is killing me. Melissa's soul just cracked in real time. Michael is trying not to burst out laughing. Tang Xian is pretending nothing happened while fixing her ruined cup. When it was time to present our pottery, Edward's me looked tragic. He even took my cup away. Michael, trying to imitate him, reached for Tang Xian's cup. Tang Xian clutched it like it was her lifeline. Tang Xian. No. Let me trade with you. Take your ugly thing away. Fine. 4-person date, everyone going slowly insane in their own way. After pottery, we went to a restaurant. The waiter handed out a set menu. Edward said, "Can we change the sautéed nut shrimp ball? I'm allergic to nuts." Nut allergy, that was my allergy. He had it too? Were we really this compatible? When the dishes arrived, I noticed something strange. Any dish I touched with my chopsticks, Edward wouldn't eat. Why isn't President Liu eating anything Melissa touched? Is he grossed out? No. He's leaving all her favorites for her. This is quiet devotion. I can taste the sugar through the screen. Then Michael, our resident idiot, noticed Edward wasn't touching the honey-glazed wings I loved so much. So he earnestly picked one up with public chopsticks and dropped it into Edward's bowl. "This one's delicious. Try it." "I don't eat wings." Edward pushed the clean bowl toward me. "I saw you liked them. Can you help me finish it?" Why is Michael acting like he knows President Liu's preferences? Their relationship is suspiciously close. Is this a love triangle, Michael, President Liu, Melissa? This industry is wild, and I'm here for it. As if the chaos wasn't enough, the production team introduced a new segment, reading the trending topics. Big screen. One headline after another. Hashtag single direction heartbeat loop. Hashtag Michael's neat hair. Hashtag President Liu needed you. Hashtag Chin US Kamora. Hashtag Tang Xian vs Michael Clay battle. Every headline read aloud triggered a fresh wave of laughter and collective toe curling from all present. This is public execution. The production crew knows exactly how to kill people. Michael's neat hair, I'm laughing for a year. When the room finally calmed down, the director cleared his throat. Next is the CP support ranking, voted by viewers. The screen refreshed. First place, year after year, Edward and Melissa. With an absurdly high percentage. Edward didn't react. But the corner of his mouth lifted ever so slightly. Third place, Liu and Zhou alliance, Edward and Michael. The entire room erupted. Except for the two people involved. Michael shot up from the sofa. Michael is my cousin. If anyone doubts it, check the shareholder registry of our companies. It's written right there. Biological. Michael panicking is the highlight of this entire show. The relationships are a web, but I'm living for it. Maybe the trending topic embarrassment had sobered them up. Maybe the director scolded them behind the scenes. Because this time, every pair actually formed mutual arrows. Suwan Chenhao Suwan. Xia Qing Qing Xia Qing. Tang Xian Michael Tang Xian. Then it was Edward and me. I laughed politely. Well, I've spent the most time with President Liu lately. It'd feel strange to vote for someone else. Edward replied without hesitation, I think Miss Lin is wonderful. Highest praise unlocked. This is basically going public. Right on cue, my phone buzzed. I answered. Edward's voice came through, warm and pleased, we're ranked first. As we should be. Tomorrow, we don't have to sneak around anymore. You didn't buy votes, did you? Only a little. Edward. Fine, fine. I'll take it slow. I'll behave tomorrow. As if he ever did. The 8 of us began a group hike. The trail was uneven and steep. At one particularly rocky slope, Edward suddenly grabbed my hand. I instinctively tried to pull away. But he tightened his grip. It's slippery here. Hold on. He stared straight ahead. I quickly added, yeah. Mutual support, right? Hand-holding alert. He initiated. That's not support, that's interlaced fingers. A staff member, clearly enjoying the chaos, held up their phone and showed Edward the exploding live stream comments. Edward glanced at the screen. And held my hand even tighter. We walked like that the entire way. Never letting go. 2 hours later, we reached the campsite. Everyone stared helplessly at the scattered tent poles and fabric. Drawing on my childhood wilderness survival training, I took charge. Under my direction, all the tents were pitched firmly within half an hour. Tang Xian clapped in amazement. Amazing. Just something I did growing up with my dad, I said, brushing off my hands. Edward approached with a wet wipe, gently cleaning the dirt from my temple. He murmured softly, great job. President Liu is different today. Hand-holding, wiping sweat, giving compliments. This is not subtle. It's blindingly obvious. A wish under the meteor shower. The campfire crackled. Everyone sat around, chatting softly. Suddenly. Look! Shooting stars. Dozens. No, hundreds, of glowing meteors streaked across the sky, forming a rare, breathtaking meteor shower. Gasps filled the air. Even the staff forgot to film. The cameraman joined the crowd, all faces tilted to the sky. Someone shouted, "Hurry! Make a wish!" Before I could think, my hands folded together, eyes squeezing shut. First wish, please, please, please let Edward never find out I faked my amnesia. Second wish, real or fake, I want Edward to always be my husband. Third wish, actually, never mind, just those two. Deal. When I opened my eyes, I instinctively turned toward Edward. He was making a wish too. My heart pounded like crazy. On a whim, I leaned over and planted a light, feather-soft kiss on his cheek. At the same moment, Edward opened his eyes. He looked at me. And silently mouthed 5 words, "I will love you forever." Wish. Fulfilled. Meteor showers really did work. I mouthed back, "I love you too." His lips curved upward, unable to hide his smile. His eyes softened, shimmering with a tenderness that overflowed. Just then, a cameraman, attempting to capture everyone's reaction to the meteor shower, zoomed in our direction. "Holy?" President Liu smiled. With his teeth. "What just happened? Did the meteor unlock his emotions?" "That smile is illegal." Cold Mountain melted, spring returned. The week-long livestream came to an end. The director announced a 1-week break before filming resumed. Everyone exhaled in relief. Being watched 24/7 like animals in a zoo? Even the most extroverted would crack. "No, I can't go a whole week without my CP. Even donkeys don't rest this long. Director, give us more episodes. Please." The screen went dark. Silence. Finally. Back home, I collapsed on the couch like a survivor of war. Edward, on the other hand, snapped back into CEO mode. Suit, tie, and off to the office to handle his backlog. But at night, he turned into a clingy octopus. He had to hold me while I read. Hold me while we watched movies. Wrap his arms around me from behind while I played games. Claiming he was observing and learning. I didn't waste time either. Thanks to the show's success, my followers skyrocketed. Several scripts landed in my inbox. One even offered me a supporting role in a wuxia film. All because I kicked a table in half on camera. Edward showed intense interest in that one. He held me close, flipping through scripts with a pen. "This modern romance won't do." He crossed one out. "Why not?" I leaned in. "Urban rom-com, good setting. There are 3 kissing scenes." "That's just acting," I reminded him. He didn't argue. But tossed aside a historical drama next. "This one also won't do." "Why?" "There's no romance." Episode 16. The villain grabs you by the waist. Me. Finally, he picked up the wuxia script again, flipping through it multiple times. Then he sighed. "Too many fight scenes. Dangerous. Not good. I like this one. Action scenes don't scare me. I really want to play a character who can fight." I snatched it and hugged it to my chest. Edward pulled me back into his arms, looking hurt. "It's not that I don't support your career, I just don't want you doing the same things with others that you do with me." I laughed. I cupped his face and kissed him gently. "That's just acting. Fake. But with you? It's real, you dummy." He kissed me back, deeply, affectionately. One night, Edward had a social engagement he couldn't refuse. He came home very late. I was half asleep on the sofa. When I heard the door open, I lifted my head drowsily. He leaned against the wall at the entryway, tie loosened, eyes unfocused. "Why did you drink so much?" I rushed over to help. He pulled me into his arms instantly, holding me tightly, murmuring over and over again. Slurring just one name, "Julie? Julie." My body went cold. My heart dropped. So, that was the name of his unforgettable love. His white moonlight. He was drunk. He thought I was her. A sour pain surged in my chest. All those sweet moments, all the tenderness, his whispered, "I'll love you forever," shattered in an instant. So I really was, just a stand-in. I endured the ache as he clung to me, inhaling his scent, his warmth, his drunken breath. Suddenly, I shoved him away. He was so drunk he couldn't stay upright. He stumbled, crashing hard into the sharp edge of the cabinet. He groaned, cold sweat beading on his brow. The impact sobered him slightly. "Julie." He looked up, eyes hazy and wet. "I finally found you, don't leave me." His words pierced me. "Look carefully. I'm Melissa. Not some Julie. If you're looking for your white moonlight, go find her. Don't hold me while calling someone else's name." My voice cracked. "You've been treating me as a substitute, haven't you?" Edward steadied himself against the cabinet, his expression stunned. Substitute? What substitute? He looked genuinely confused. I only like you. You just said Julie. You called me that. Julie is you. What? Lynn Julie. Julie of Iron and Bone. Iron Bone Julie. You forgot, because of your memory loss. But I remember. Me. Julie's me? He continued, voice soft, you gave yourself that nickname. You stood hands on hips, so proud of it. A memory slammed into me. When I was about 7. A wild little tomboy. I insisted on calling myself Julie. Because Melissa wasn't cool enough. One day, I witnessed a group of scary men shoving crying kids into a van. I ran to a public phone, called the police. Then, acting purely on instinct, I grabbed a brick. And smashed their car window. Then I started screaming nonsense and wildly throwing the military boxing moves my dad taught me, managing to scare the kidnappers for a few seconds. In that brief moment, I grabbed the nearest boy in a white shirt. Pale, weak, a few years older than me. And bolted toward the crowded streets. Later, the police arrived. And after that, I completely forgot about the nickname. But now, thinking back. That weak boy, it was probably Edward. Edward noticed my shifting expression, mistaking it for confusion caused by amnesia. I was sickly and weak back then. You were so brave, even though you were younger. I searched for you for years, but all I knew was that you called yourself Lynn Julie. There were no leads. But now I've found you. You're here, beside me. That's enough. Even if you don't remember. We have all the time in the world. Watching him be this gentle, this patient, and thinking about how I was the one deceiving him. Pretending to have memory loss, taking advantage of him, even pushing him so hard he got hurt, I couldn't keep lying anymore. I took a deep breath, shut my eyes, and confessed in one go, I didn't lose my memory. I called you brother because I couldn't afford the car repairs. I faked being pitiful so you'd let me go. And later, when you called me wifey, I only agreed because you were too handsome, and I was momentarily stupid and thought I'd be an idiot not to seize the opportunity. After speaking, I cracked one eye open to peek at his reaction. Edward suddenly stepped forward. And pulled me tightly into his arms. So tightly I almost couldn't breathe. No amnesia, that's really, really good. He exhaled shakily against my ear. As long as you're healthy and full of energy, nothing else matters. Then he chuckled softly. And you lied to me because you thought I was handsome? My wifey thinks I'm handsome. I must be lucky. I rested against his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. It all felt like a dream. My dad used to be a soldier, I murmured. He trained me since I was little, said I needed to be strong enough to protect myself. And he always nagged, do good deeds without leaving your name. That's why I gave myself that stupid nickname. I thought it was cool. In the end, I almost missed out on a top-tier husband like you. Edward let out a self-deprecating laugh. Yeah. I searched the whole world using the name Julie. Every time I thought I had a clue, it turned out not to be you. But, you like me just because I saved you as a kid? Isn't that a little shallow? Sounds more like gratitude than love. I pouted. And your reason wasn't shallow? You fell for me after one look. That's different. I lifted my chin proudly. I liked your face. Pure and simple. But you made it feel like you were repaying a life debt. That kind of pressure wasn't romantic. No pressure, Edward said softly, lowering his gaze. 2 years ago, I accidentally saw you in a web drama. A really low-budget one with a silly plot. Ouch, I mumbled. My cousin was watching it, he continued. I was just passing by. And then there you were. You didn't have many scenes, but I fell in love at first sight. He smiled faintly. Then I realized you looked familiar. I investigated, and slowly remembered my little warrior, Julie. Then why didn't you find me earlier? I asked. I spent 2 years expanding the company's media branch. So I could enter the entertainment industry legitimately. I wanted a proper identity, resources. Something respectable, before approaching you. Just when I was ready. He sighed. You rear-ended my car. And then you lost your memory on the spot. I rubbed my nose, awkward. So, you secretly liked me for years, and I only liked you for a few months. Mostly because of your face. Doesn't that feel unfair? He shook his head instantly. Not at all. If anything, I feel guilty. I took advantage of your amnesia. Coaxed you, tricked you, brought you home, kissed you, hugged you. He coughed, the tips of his ears turning red. And more. It's a good thing my amnesia was fake, then. Otherwise, you'd feel guilty forever. Humph. I poked his chest. At least you have a conscience. But if you really were a bad guy, wouldn't I be doomed? I am a bad guy. Edward caught my mischievous finger. And kissed it lightly. A very bad guy. And I like it, I teased. That lit him up like fire. He didn't say another word, choosing instead to demonstrate what bad truly meant. Let's just say, the next morning, I fully understood the meaning of, a slip of the tongue brings disaster, and you reap what you sow. After our 1-week break, the second half of Heartbeat Continues finally resumed filming. After being dragged by Edward through all kinds of indescribable, physical training, for 7 days straight, I was thrilled to throw myself back into work. Anything to escape him. The production team wasted no time stirring up chaos. This time, they prepared a heavy-hitting segment, pure truth. No dares. Only soul-piercing questions. A wine bottle sat in the center of the table. The first spin landed on me. Melissa, the director asked, among the current guests, is there someone who's caught your eye or made your heart flutter? All eyes turned toward me. Edward lounged on the sofa casually, but his fingers nervously rubbed the rim of his glass. It wasn't a lethal question. I nodded. Yes. Why yes? Who? Too vague. Be more specific. No need, she glanced at President Liu. Eyes don't lie. MYCP is real. Confirmed. The bottle spun again. And landed on Edward. The director leaned forward, eyes shining. President Liu, have you completely let go of the love that once left a deep mark on you? The entire room sat up straighter. Edward's tone was calm and unwavering. No. And I don't want to. He won't let go? And doesn't want to? President Liu, you're killing me. MYCP is real, but the angst is too much. The bottle spun next toward Qingyu and Xiaoqing. Their answers? Mutual affection. Soft gazes. Sweet interactions. Art CP is REL. LOCK them DOWN. Best couple this season. Just as the room warmed with fluffy energy, the bottle spun again. And pointed at Edward. The director leaned in, eyes twinkling. President Liu, just if, after this show ends, you had to choose one female guest to spend the rest of your life with, who would you choose? Please say her name and give your reason. Everyone turned to look. Even Qingyu and Xiaoqing stopped whispering. Edward didn't hesitate. Melissa. I nearly leapt off the sofa. I waved my hands frantically at him. Bro. What happened to keep it low-key? Edward smoothly adjusted his expression. And began spouting nonsense with a straight face. During our prior collaboration, I observed that Miss Lin displayed excellent efficiency and responsibility. In all kitchen-related tasks, cooking and cleaning included. In selecting a life partner, such practical qualities ensure stability in the household. In short, with her, I'll never go hungry. There was a moment of stunned silence. Then everyone burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. Never go hungry? That's your romantic reason? Others choose for love, President Liu chooses for food security. My CP isn't about love, it's about logistics and rations. Edward, love is temporary. Stir-fry is forever. Edward shot him a death glare. This special guest, is he okay? Where's the rivalry? He's acting like their #1 fan. Was he planted by the Edward Times Melissa fan club as an undercover agent? When a costumed NPC suddenly rushed at us, dragging iron chains, Edward finally snapped. He yanked me into his arms, holding me tightly. His jaw pressed against the top of my head, his breathing ragged. I could feel his arms trembling, his heart racing wildly. I gently patted his back. It's fake. It's all fake, everything here is fake. OMG, he's hugging her. Wait, didn't Edward have an unforgettable white moonlight? How can he hug Melissa like this? This feels like substitute behavior, poor Melissa. Meanwhile, Shani flailed his arms at the NPC and yelled, "Begone, demons! Prosperity! Democracy! Civility! Harmony! Don't touch me! I'm a CP fan! I'm one of you!" The NPC froze for 2 seconds, clearly confused, then silently dragged his chains and walked away. HELP. He scared off the NPC. I'm a CP fan, legendary behavior. He's absolutely Edward's secret agent. After battling through 99 trials, the three of us finally emerged from the escape room. As soon as we stepped into daylight, I exhaled in relief. I instinctively tried to let go of Edward's hand. But he immediately tightened his grip. His fingers slid between mine, locking us into an unmistakably intimate, interlaced hold. Edward. The cameras are still filming, I whispered. Before I could say more, Shen, walking loudspeaker, slapped his thigh and shouted, "It's here. It's happening. Mom. Dad. I've been born. I am the crystallization of your love." I turned to him, deadpan. "Who the hell are you calling Mom? Ha ha ha, what kind of family tree is THIS? Special guest has unlocked the art of calling in-laws." LOK, they're still holding hands. Edward's grip is ironclad. But, thinking of the white moonlight, my heart aches for Melissa. Our 3-person family went to eat together. Edward dropped all pretense. As soon as the dishes arrived, he morphed into a feeding machine. Placing every piece of meat or shrimp I looked at directly into my bowl. He barely ate. Instead, he rested his chin on his hand, watching me with fiery focus. The back of my neck prickled. Under the table, I nudged him with my foot. He got the signal. But instead of backing off, he leaned in and wiped a dot of sauce from the corner of my lips with his thumb. I froze. Stop. This is not acting. This is spouse behavior. Where's the cold CEO? Who is this lovesick husband? Shenyi's presence triggered Edward's possessiveness. He's lost control. Shenyi didn't eat either. He propped his chin in his hands, giggling like a gremlin. He peeked at the staff tablet, eyes sparkling. You too. I'm on your side. A loyal CP fan. The comment section is exploding. How about a kiss? Just a little one to bless the fans? It was supposed to be a joke. A mood booster. But Edward? He didn't joke. He turned, looked straight into my eyes, and before anyone could react, he leaned in and kissed my cheek. The live stream froze on the spot. Then, crashed. Wait, he kissed her. Where's the footage? The stream crashed, too many viewers. While the stream was down, Edward dropped the last of his restraint. He leaned down again. And this time, kissed me on the lips. Nearby staff almost dropped their gear. Edward straightened, glanced calmly at the stunned crew, and said, "You know what to do. Please don't air that part." Shenyi was pounding his chest. Lugesin You're going to kill me with this sweetness. My life is complete. Then. The live stream suddenly resumed. What happened? Did they kiss? I saw the cheek kiss, but what happened during the black screen? Wait, is that a red smudge on Edward's lips? Is that lipstick? Edward clearly underestimated the fans' zooming skills and the Ultra HD devices in circulation. Within a minute, the trending topics exploded. Hashtag Edward kisses Melissa. Hashtag Edward lipstick mark. Hashtag heartbeat continues live stream crash. The top pinned post was a blurry, long lens shot. But unmistakable, Edward's lips pressed against mine. No one would believe it was just camera angle. A staff member showed us the tablet, barely holding back laughter. Edward looked at the photo, then turned to the assistant director, who was sweating bullets. Given the situation, can I speak freely now? The assistant director's survival instincts kicked in. Yes. Absolutely. Our show prides itself on authenticity. No scripts, no manipulation. Please, say whatever you want. Edward turned toward me. Melissa, he said, voice steady, I can't pretend anymore. I'm completely in love with you. I nodded. At this point, hiding it would be even weirder. We're together, I said to the main camera, gripping Edward's hand tightly. Edward added smoothly, yes. And we're grateful to the show for creating this opportunity. Official announcement. MYCP is REL. IT's happening. This is not a drill dot. But Melissa, honey, in romance novels, once the white moonlight returns, the substitute always gets abandoned. Yeah. Edward's unforgettable first love is still a thorn dot. Edward clearly saw that floating comment too. He didn't flinch. Instead, he gave my hand a gentle squeeze. I know many people are worried about the past I said I couldn't forget, he said to the camera. But that lifelong, unforgettable, irreplaceable crush was Melissa. He met the lens head-on. In my heart, there is only her. Thank you to the production team for letting fate bring us back together, and for giving us so many moments to reconnect. Otherwise, with my terrible people skills, I'd probably still be watching her from afar, too afraid to get close. The white moonlight was Melissa all along. Childhood heroine CEO's wifey. I'm sobbing. This isn't a romance arc, this is a damn legend. Beside us, Shenyi, silent until now, suddenly slammed the table and shouted, "Mom. Dad. You must be happy. Your child ships you with all my soul." The small romance show exploded in popularity. Because it unexpectedly produced a real, public couple. What surprised me most was, I wasn't hated. Instead of being accused of gold digging, Edward's public confession of years of secret love earned me sympathy, affection, and admiration. This is real love. If she wanted money, Edward could have anyone, he chose her. Melissa baby, you deserve the world. He searched for her for years, this man is the war god of love. The production team hit the jackpot. The director's smile practically reached his ears. They immediately announced, Edward times Melissa, CP and Artistic CP would each get their own dedicated livestream series for couple dates. The other guests, those still single, would return to the main show with new participants. And just like that, Edward and I officially began our publicly funded romance. Though, let's be honest, he didn't need public funding at all. Every couple live stream felt like Lunar New Year. Get married already. I'll move the marriage bureau TOYOU. Register now. As for the truth behind everything, that we only reconnected because I rear-ended his supercar, that I faked amnesia, and that he just went along with it, only a few people knew. Around that time, the drama I co-starred in began airing. My role was stunning, confident, and full of action scenes. Unexpectedly, people praised my acting. Melissa can act? Those fight scenes are no joke. Who buried her before? That agency should be sued. Get the roles and the man. Sis wins everything. Scripts poured in. I read them carefully. One night, curled in Edward's arms, I waved a romance movie script in front of him. This one looks good. Famous director. Should I take it? Edward didn't even glance over. Take it. I fully support your career. I'm not jealous. Really? I teased, leaning closer. Because I smell jealousy from here. Not jealous, he muttered stiffly. I smirked and pulled out another script. This one? Urban rom-com, I'm the female lead. Great story. But, 10 kiss scenes. And the male lead is that really hot actor. Before I finished, Edward had already snatched the script. He flipped straight to the kiss scenes, frowning deeper with each turn of the page. Finally, he closed the script and said solemnly, the script is well written. But, kiss scenes require technical precision. To ensure artistic authenticity, I suggest we rehearse thoroughly. In depth. And then, he kissed me. Edward. That's abuse of power. He chuckled against my lips. No need to abuse it. I gain either way. New Year's Eve. I'd just wrapped filming for a new project. Exhausted, eyelids drooping, I dragged my suitcase out of the studio. A sleek motorcycle pulled up and braked sharply in front of me. The rider removed his helmet. Edward. Looking unfairly handsome. Where's your Bugatti Veyron, the one I rear-ended? I asked. He smiled, stepped off the bike, and placed a helmet gently on my head. Our token of fate stays in the garage, preserved forever. I could never bear to drive it again. He drove us to the beach. The shore was already filled with people awaiting the countdown. We held hands, blending into the crowd unnoticed. As the final seconds ticked down, fireworks exploded into the sky, lighting everything in gold. And at the exact moment the old year crossed into the new, I leaned over. And kissed Edward. In the crackle of fireworks and cheers, he kissed me back. Then, he got down on one knee. A diamond ring in hand. Wifey, he said softly, will you marry me? I raised an eyebrow. You've been calling me wifey for so long. Only now you remember to propose? I pulled out a ring of my own. We both blinked in surprise. Our proposals were perfectly timed. Someone screamed, it's them. It's year after year. Crowds surrounded us. Applause. Cheers. We exchanged rings. The next morning, we were first in line at the marriage bureau. When the red certificate was finally handed to us, Edward squeezed my hand and read aloud, Melissa. Edward. Year after year. Forever and ever. I squeezed back. We looked at each other and smiled. Together, in perfect sync, we said, we won't part.